Hi there everyone, welcome to English with Catherine. If you're new here, welcome, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to share with you today 5 phrases that we use in native English. So what I've done is just been really aware recently of things that we say every day. Really kind of basic responses, reactions. If you start using these phrases, you will definitely sound much more natural, less formal, much more friendly and easy to talk to. I think I've told you before that when you come to the UK, you will notice that the English that we speak is not the English that you learnt at school. It's spoken English, and spoken English has phrasal verbs, idioms, and many things like little expressions that we just don't use in writing and we don't learn at school generally. So here I am, making your life easier. If you come to the UK and you use a couple of these phrases, you'll definitely fit in. Number 1 is, the thing is. The thing is. The thing is. We use this all the time, and what it means is, the issue is, the problem is. In British culture, we really don't like to say when there's a problem, or we don't really like to say no either. We're kind of terrified of confrontation and sort of causing a fuss or offending someone. So there's so much you need to learn about how to behave here. It's just, I have many more videos. Let's just say that. So to give you some examples of how to use the thing is, we can say, the flat is so beautiful. The thing is, the traffic sound coming from the road really puts me off. So here you're saying the flat is really nice. Maybe you're looking at a flat, you're wanting to rent it or buy it. And you're saying the flat is lovely, but the traffic sounds coming from the road is kind of a negative, and it's kind of making you not like the flat as much. It's not a very direct way to express this. It's a typically British way to express this. We also use it to soften the blow or reduce the impact or the effect of saying something negative to someone. Maybe something that is maybe quite offensive or a bit difficult for them to hear. For example, when a manager is addressing his employee about a situation, an issue, something that's wrong, he could say, "You're doing really well in this job. The thing is, a few colleagues have noticed you've been late a few times this month." So this is a good way to bring up a problem with that employee that will not automatically offend them. It will give them time to process the information so that they don't immediately get offended and look red in the face, etc. So it's a really good way to soften the blow of that kind of criticism. Another example of softening the blow is just saying no to someone in that something just isn't possible or isn't logical or isn't rational, and you want to say no in the best way. For example, the thing is, Karen, we just can't afford to have 6 swimming pools in the garden. We just can't afford it. So that example is a bit silly, but you know what I mean. It's about saying no, it's about softening the blow. That's another expression you've learned today. To soften the blow means to reduce the impact or the effect of something negative. Number 2 is, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. So we say this as a response to something that we see as acceptable, logical, understandable, reasonable. For example, I can't come tonight because I'm working late. The response would be, fair enough. It's very common to hear this every day in conversation amongst friends or family, and really it's a very useful response because it's only 2 words. Another example, I'll do the dishes tonight if you do the dishes tomorrow. Response would be, fair enough, great idea. Now, we say do the dishes, by the way. It means to wash the dishes. That's a collocation with do. Number 3 is, what a shame. What a shame. What a shame. So this is another response, but this time it's when someone tells you something disappointing, almost sad, annoying for them and you want to respond in the right way. Now, if it's something really sad and really serious, you can't say what a shame because you're going to need something a bit more serious and a bit stronger. But for example, if someone says to you, my auntie can't come to visit anymore because of the train strikes, you can say, oh, what a shame. What a shame. That means, that's a shame. You know, that's disappointing. That's sad for you. Another example is, I dropped my favourite necklace in the river when I was bending over the bridge. You can say, oh, what a shame. That's a real shame, you know, for you. So it helps to be understanding, show sympathy for someone. It's really nice, actually. It's a nice expression. It shows that you care and that you're listening to what they're saying about their problem. So use what a shame if you want to sound a little bit more native. Number 4 is a complete nightmare. A complete nightmare. A complete nightmare. Now you'll notice that I'm saying this with quite a lot of drama and energy, and that's because it helps to describe a feeling of being angry about something. Now in British culture, we do love to complain. We complain about a lot of things, but this phrase, a complete nightmare, we usually use to complain about the traffic. So a lot of heavy traffic when you're trying to get home after a long day at work, perhaps. You have to drive home and you get stuck in traffic. Our roads are notoriously busy. We have a lot of cars on the roads, so it's very common to get stuck in traffic. Or we use this phrase to complain about the trains. The trains in Britain are notoriously very, very bad. Sorry to say that, but they are often cancelled or very delayed, and they often don't really give you much warning. But I have to say, the underground trains in London are absolutely amazing. We also use this phrase to complain about queuing. Now, in British culture, queuing is very important. We do always queue, and if someone is trying to queue jump, it is always a massive problem. So, some examples using this phrase. The trains were a complete nightmare yesterday. It took me over an hour to get home when it would normally take me 20 minutes. What a nightmare! Okay, very dramatic. That's very true. But yes, this is very, very common, especially if you just want to describe that annoyance that you felt because of the trains. It was absolute gridlock on the motorway yesterday. It was an absolute nightmare getting home. Now, gridlock means solid traffic. So car, lorry, car, nothing moving, nothing moving. And an example for queuing, it will be a nightmare tomorrow. We will have to queue for hours. So here we are here, predicting the future and worrying about queuing in the future, which is, by the way, another thing that we do. We worry about the future. We're always thinking what's coming, what's coming. So it will be a nightmare tomorrow. We will have to queue for hours. Number 5 is, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? What have you been up to? Now this is very common in British small talk. When you haven't seen a friend or a colleague or a family member for a while, we often ask this in small talk when we see them. And it means, what have you been doing? How have you been filling your time? Have you been playing tennis? Have you been at the pub? Have you been doing a new hobby? Have you been working too much? You then need to answer the question with what you have been doing. You don't answer with up to in the answer. It's only for the question. Okay. For example, what have you been up to recently? Well, I've been, just playing the piano a bit. I've been going out for walks. I've been spending a lot of time with my sister, but I've been working far too much. We also use up to ask about what someone is doing in the future. So on the weekend, typically. So what are you up to on the weekend? What are you up to on the weekend? I use this very often when I'm asking my friends what their plans are, either the same evening or on the weekend when I'm maybe going to invite them for a drink or suggest doing something with them. I hope you've enjoyed this video about 5 native phrases. Maybe it will make it a little bit easier when you come to the UK and you hear these on the streets, in conversation, in cafes, wherever you are. So hit the subscribe button if you feel in the mood to, and I'll see you next week for another class. Thank you.